Hello, welcome to another lesson. In the last lesson, we learned about Burp Suite intruder and we saw how we could use it for automated attacks. In this lesson, we are going to be exploring two essential Burp Suite utility tools, which are Decoder and Comparer. These tools help you decode encoded data and compare responses to find differences. Let's start with Burp Suite Decoder. A decoder is a tool for encoding and decoding data. Web applications often encode data using base64, URL encoding, HTML entities, and other formats. So Decoder helps us to quickly convert between these formats without external tools. Let's now go into the demo. The first thing you need to do is to ensure that your Burp Suite is running and you have access to internet. In your Burp Suite, you can come to Decoder and here you can see a text box. The first thing you want to do is to type in a word like hello world. So that is going to be in plain text. And after you've typed it, if you look at this right hand side, you're going to see decoders, encoders, hash, and smart decode. So decode as helps you to decode what you have encoded. Encoders helps you to encode, and hash helps you to hash. So what we want to do next is to come to encode as here, and we can select base64 here. After we have encoded this hello world, we can see the encoded version here. So if I want to decode it back to hello world, what I can do is to come here and select decode as, then I'll come here and select base64 again. You can see that it is back to hello world. So another thing you can do is, even after you have encoded something and you've gotten the encoded version, you can still encode it again, maybe for more security. So you can come here and then select encode and select base64 again, and you can see that it is encoding what is here. So if I want to go back, what I can do is to come here, select decode as, and then I can select base64. You can see that it is back to the previous one, that is the one here, and I can come here again, select decode as, and select base64 again, and now I'm back to hello world that I started with at the beginning. To encode URL, we can just type in a random URL. So we can just use google.com, or let's use victorakionde.com. Here, I can now try to encode as URL, and you can see the encoded version here. And if I want to decode it back, I can come here and then decode it as URL, and you can see that I am back to Victor Akionde. Another thing we can encode is HTML entity. So if you have a script, maybe an HTML script or HTML code, and you want to encode them, for instance, you can look at this. This is just a script with an alert function in JavaScript. So what this will do is that it's going to alert one, that is going to create a pop-up and show us one. So if I want to encode this, I can encode this as HTML. So I come to encode here, then I select HTML, and you can see the encoded version here. The beauty of HTML entity encoding is that it helps us prevent attacks such as cross-site scripting by converting all the special characters. So if you are collecting the plain text from the users, you can always encode it. So what will happen is that it's going to convert all the special characters into some random scrambled data. And you can see an example here. So if you want to decode this back, you can come here, click on decode as, and then select HTML. And after selecting HTML, you can see that it is here. And you can see that we are back to what we start with at the beginning here. Let's now try hexadecimal and ASCII conversion. So here we can type ABC to start with, and we can encode it as ASCII. You can see ASCII X here, and you select that. Now you can see that it has converted it into an ASCII format. And what happens here is that each character is converted to its hexadecimal ASCII value. A is 41, B is 42, and C is 43 in hexadecimal. And that is why you are seeing that here. Let's now consider the hash functions in Decoder. Decoder can help us generate hashes, right? So I can type password 123 here. Then I can come here and click on hash. Then I can select the hash algorithm that I'm interested in. I can select SHA-256. And now you can see the hash version here. If I should select MD5, you can see that that won't be as long as SHA-256. You can see that it is not as long as SHA-256. And that means that MD5 is not as secure as SHA-256. Let's now move to Comparer. So you can come here inside Comparer And what comparer does is that it helps us to identify differences between two requests or responses. And this is invaluable when testing subtle changes. So to start with, we can just try to input some manual data. Here I have a text to paste already, so I can just paste it here. So what is inside the text is just username equals admin and password equals test123. So I can click on paste again, and you can see that the same thing was pasted here, right? So if I want to compare the two, I can compare at the word level by clicking on this, and you can see that they are the same. There is no change there. So if there are things that are different, the comparer will show exactly what changed between the two items, and this can help us to identify how application responds to different inputs. So what we can do is to change the text we entered, or should I say the request. So let's try to paste this again. So we cannot compare between this and this. You can see that this is having test 456 and this is having test 123. So let me compare at what level, and you can see that we're having some changes here. You can see that we're having test 123 here, and we are having test 456 here. So that is the difference between the two. And we can also compare at the bytes level. And you can see that from here 31, 32, 33, here we're having 34, 35, 36. So this is the bytes that are changing amidst the two requests. So we can close this. So the beauty of comparer is that it shows exactly what changed between two items, and this helps us to identify how the application responds to different inputs. It can also capture requests maybe from proxy and then forward it to comparer directly. Maybe we can try to load something from here. So let's try to use the browser. So I have this link that we have used in one of our previous demos, so we can run it. It is a link to one of the Port Triggers labs. We can come here and click on access the lab. So our Burp Suite is already capturing all the requests. So I can click on my account to log in, and here the username is Vienna and the password is Peter. But let me try to enter Vienna and enter wrong password, then click login. You can see that I'm getting invalid username or password. So if I should come inside Burp Suite and I come to HTTP proxy and I come here, I'm seeing the request already. You can see the wrong password I put there, and this is the username. So the username is correct because I know the username already. It is the password that is wrong. I can highlight this. Let me highlight this with this color. And for the second one, I can type in Vienna and the correct password, which is Peter, then login. And you can see that this works. And I can come here again and type in the other one that works. Then I can highlight this as well. So I have these two requests, one with the wrong password and the other one with the right password. So what I can do is I can send both to my comparer, send this to the comparer. Also, I can send this to comparer. And once I come to my comparer, you can see this is the first one and this is the second one here. So I can try to compare at what level, and it's going to show that this is having Peter and this is having another password. Another thing I can do is I can send the responses. So I can come here and I can send the response to this to comparer, and come here again, send this response to comparer as well. And if I should come back to comparer and try to compare the two, this is the first response, this is the second response, and I click on word, you can see that I'm having a lot of changes, right? So this one is giving me 200, okay, and this one is giving me 302. I can compare at the byte level as well, and you're going to see a lot of changes as well. So if you want to clear, you can just come here and click on clear, and everything will be cleared. So that's all for decoder and comparer. But before we go, I have a challenge question for you. And that is, when should we use base64 encoding versus URL encoding? I'll come again. When do you think we should use base64 encoding compared to or versus URL encoding? That's all for this lesson. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do that now. Also, do not forget to like, share, and comment. Thank you, and see you in the next lesson.